What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Maxie Wilson, and welcome to another episode of the Hoop and Talk podcast, the show where we play the sport we love while we talk about it. It is currently 44 degrees outside, I think. It is absolutely freezing. And it takes a true maniac to be playing in weather conditions like this, but I guess I'm that maniac today. It is absolutely freezing outside, so we might have a little bit of a shorter episode this time around. But anyways, we've got a good episode for you today. Today we are talking about the mindsets of basketball and how important the mindset really is to the game of basketball. I'll tell you what, you gotta have a pretty crazy mindset to be out here in freezing weather recording a podcast at an outdoor court. But nonetheless, in today's episode we're going to be defining the mindset. We're going to be showing how a bad mindset can negatively affect you in your basketball endeavors, and then we'll be showing how a good mindset can help you not only improve in the game, but also just improve in life in general. So even though it is absolutely freezing out here, it is nice to be outside on a nice full court, actually have 3-point lines and everything. Don't have to worry about tripping and falling into sheet metal or barbed wire. It's a little bit of an upgrade from the last episode's court. So whenever I'm thinking about basketball mindset, I like to split a mindset up into 3 main categories: your real-time thoughts, your work ethic, and your attitude. And basically, your real-time thoughts is what you're thinking like in the middle of a game. Like if you're in the middle of a run, your thoughts like, oh, should I pass it or should I just go up for the lay? Your work ethic is going to be how you approach the game and approach working on your game every time you step in the gym or the outside court, so you can get just at least 1% better each time you hop on the court. And then finally, the last part is your attitude. And that's got to be one of the easiest ones to fix, but it can also be one of the most harmful parts of your mindset if you don't fix it in a positive way. Most coaches will tell you that the game is 90% mental. And from my various years of playing basketball, I couldn't agree more. Some of the biggest leaps that I've took in improving my game have been completely outside of practicing and shooting and working on my skills, but almost entirely on how I think about the game. Mindset is often one of the biggest aspects that players tend to skip or not really care about. Because overall, people don't really look into their thoughts while they play. They just get lost in them, which is really upsetting because in most cases, some of the missing pieces that a lot of players are lacking is that they're just approaching the game with the wrong attitude, the wrong mental, and that one decision to ignore that part of their game stems into so many other problems with not only how they practice, but how they play. Having a bad mindset can have so many negative effects, from messing with your confidence and how much you believe in yourself, to even a physical effect on your teammates. Many times you'll see whenever there's a negative player around that's just moping around, not high-fiving teammates, usually it stems from them being mad at themselves for maybe not performing, or mad at their team, or just mad in general, to be honest. Having a bad mindset can be harmful to your game in many, many ways. From stunting your progress practicing to affecting you making or missing shots in a game. A bad mindset can be detrimental in stunting a player's growth. One example of how a bad mentality can affect your game is what I like to call the skiing example. And basically what the skiing example is they tell skiers whenever when they're training and preparing to go down a hill, they train them to not think about hitting a tree, because if you think about hitting a tree, you're going to hit a tree. But if you don't even think about hitting a tree and you just think you're going to make it to the bottom of the hill, and that's all that's going through your mind, making it to the bottom of the hill, you're going to make it to the bottom of the hill. Some players create this negative mindset in their head that every time I shoot, I'm going to miss, or it's going to rebound bad, or I'm going to mess up, or I'm going to turn over the ball. And what these bad thoughts do is it almost tricks your mind into allowing you to have more opportunities for failure, because that's all you're focused on. So you're not putting yourself in the right spots where you need to be. You're not thinking right. But whenever somebody can approach it with a positive mindset and saying, hey, I'm going to make every shot, they're all going to go in, you can find more opportunities for success. Or some players might say, I'm bad at shooting corner threes. I'm not going to shoot a corner three, even though I'm open. That'll cut them off from even having the chance at the shot, where somebody who's constantly telling themselves that they can make a shot from any place on the court is more likely to catch the ball in the corner, be ready to shoot, and knock it down every time. And this usually translates into almost every aspect of the game, from defense to offense. You can only do what you believe you can do. Whenever you don't believe in yourself, you're not really going to be able to do much. Whenever you don't believe in yourself, it makes the game 10 times harder for really no reason. One thing that plagued my basketball career growing up was that I was terrified and terrible at making layups, which is one of the easiest shots in the game. It's definitely one of the closest shots, but there was, for some reason, I had this belief that I'm terrible at finishing. I'll never make a layup. You know, I was just getting so in my head that it was almost imprinted in my mind that if I go up, it's going off the side of the backboard. It's not even going to be close. But then one of my biggest leaps is when I started believing in myself and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to go up, and no matter where the defender is, it's going to go through. And I held to this belief, and I kept telling it myself until I believed it. And then once you believe it, then it's up to you to just go out and do it. Having a negative mindset doesn't just stop at hurting your own personal performance, but it can also hurt your teammates if you're not careful. Our teammates aren't just there to be the ones to physically help us and to play the game with, but they're going to war with us every time. You got to have faith for your teammates to help you, not only physically, but also mentally. Your teammates are really going to be your support system when it comes to basketball. After every shot, they're cheering you on. After every miss, they're saying, it's okay, forget it, shoot the next one. Every word, high five, fist bump, yelling, hey, when somebody goes up for a dunk, it all contributes to the success of a team. And a mentally strong team is going to go 10 times further than any team with a bad mindset. I'm just now realizing that it's starting to get really dark, so I'm going to have to pick up the pace a little bit. For as much as a negative mindset can harm a player and a team, a good mindset can benefit and help a player team 10 times as much. One aspect of having a good basketball mindset is something that usually isn't looked on as much as a benefit, but it's short-term memory loss. And what I mean by having a short memory being beneficial is not dwelling on the last play or missing a shot, but worrying about the present and the current task at hand, which usually is winning the game. Players will get so in their head about missing a shot or turning over the ball that they'll be so down on themselves that it'll start affecting their play, and then it's just a constant stream of making a bad play and then worrying about it for the next three. When having a short memory in the game, you almost allow yourself to mess up. It doesn't matter if you miss a shot, you're going into the next one. We're all human. No one's perfect by any means. And the same is true for the game of basketball. One of the big teammate boosts that I used to do is whenever my teammate would miss a shot, that they'd turn the ball over, I'd go to them and be like, hey, it happened. Forget about it, on to the next one. You're good, you got this. And that little bit of words can motivate and really get your teammate to believe in themselves. And that can be worth everything when it comes to winning a game. Saying little, giving little boosts of confidence like that adds to the overall energy of the team. And it's such a beneficial thing to bring a good energy to the team and a good energy to how you approach the game. If you look at some of the most successful teams in history, there's always good vibes. You can always tell that every player on the team is connected. They're friends, they're brothers with their teammates, and they're willing to put everything on the line just to make sure their fellow brothers succeed. And that kind of positive environment really gives space for a team to thrive and do better. A lot of times the biggest thing when it comes to the mental game of basketball is focusing on what matters at the point in time when it matters. And while that's a broad statement, what that means is just being in the right headspace for what's going on. If you're defending, you shouldn't be thinking about, man, I missed that last shot, you know. You should be focusing on, hey, there's so many players over here, there's so many players over there. I'm gonna watch this, I'm watching ball, and man, I've got help side, you know. Trying to stop any attempts by the offense. Whereas a good offensive mindset is not worrying about, oh, I just got blown by on the other end, but worrying about, okay, where's my teammates? Where's the defenders? Some players can get so caught up, they start to make really poor decisions on either end of the court. Like, they'll be so focused on getting their get back from the last shot that they won't even notice their open teammate who's right on the block, ready to get a nice, easy layup. Now you might be asking, oh yeah, that's cool, but how do I do that? How do I change my mentality? How do I not think about the bad? And usually what I tell people is that they should follow the 10-second rule, which is basically whenever something bad happens, you got 10 seconds to worry about it, feel bad for yourself, be like, oh, that was bad, you know, I just got my ankles broken or something. But as soon as that 10 seconds is up, it's over, it's gone, it never happened. You're on to the next play. And I'm not saying forget about everything. I'm not saying forget about every bad thing that happens and be ignorant to learning opportunities. But I'm saying don't focus on the unnecessary bad thoughts. Like, okay, you missed a shot. Not everyone's gonna hit every single shot, so might as well worry about making the next one. See, I missed that shot, but I got 10 seconds to get a nice clear head, and then I'm on to the next one where I can make it and have success. All right, everybody, it's starting to rain out here and it's getting really dark, so I'm gonna start to wrap the video up. If I could leave y'all with one bit of advice to help not only you as a player or somebody you know, just tell them to be a little bit more positive about their approach to the game. Tell them to focus more on the good, and don't tell them to avoid the bad, but to understand that we should learn from the bad and not embrace it. As always, I would like to thank each and everyone for clicking on the episode today and hooping with me out here in the cold. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow us on our socials. Having said that, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.